July 2nd, 2026. Dear excited me, what do you do when you successfully pull off a near perfect day? Do you celebrate? Do you take a moment to sit back and just enjoy it? Today was just everything I needed it to be, minus one small hiccup. So today was my kiddo's 16th birthday, and all I wanted was him to have a perfect day. I wanted him to feel loved and seen and appreciated. Everyone deserves at least one of those days. What better day than your birthday? He was apprehensive. I was excited. My husband, somewhere in the middle. He knows that birthdays are a big deal to me. He knows I like to celebrate people. So he knew that today was going to be a big day for both of us. So the day started later than I wanted it to. I was up by 10. I had a phone call at 10:30 for a job. And then my thought was we'd do breakfast and then we'd figure out our day from there. My kiddo didn't come out of his room until noonish. My husband didn't come out until around the same time. No problem. Sitting in the living room, we're talking. He and I, my son and I. And then he goes out to the garage to look for a certain pair of shoes. Okay, great. Do that. My husband comes out, goes to see them, says happy birthday, comes inside. And we sit there and wait for him to come back in. He comes back in, and I'm just like, I saw a wasp. I'm allergic to those, so I can't look for what I'm looking for until that's gone. My husband says, he'll go take care of it. And he comes back inside, and then all of a sudden, my son's face falls. He was looking through his phone, and he has this thing that he shares with a friend of his who's also on X, on the Note app, where they have a quote book. And anytime somebody says something that he finds remotely funny, he puts it in the quote book. It's his way of staying attached to all the people that have come across his life. It's a very sweet and endearing thing. Very important to him. But today, it's missing. Today, it's gone. And he reaches out to the person, and he's like, hey, what's going on? Why is this happening? Like, give me something. And the person doesn't respond. And I could just see the pain in his eyes. I could see the emotion build up. And I think, oh no, I don't know how to save this. I don't know what to do. I want him to feel happy, and that's not how he feels. And he's processing it. And I'm so fucking proud of him because you could see that he got upset. You could see that it bothered him. And I said, well, what do you want to do? Today's your birthday. And he's like, I just want to have one day, just one birthday where nothing went bad. And so I said, okay, well, we could change our plans. I do have things I want to do with you for your birthday, but I'll understand if you want to just sit in your room and kind of process all the things. And he said, no, I don't want to spend today in my room. I'm going to go back out to the garage and look for what I'm looking for, and then we'll go from there. Okay. So he goes out to the garage with my husband. He goes looking for something. He comes back in. They didn't find it. And I'm waiting for the shoe to drop. And I say, well, sorry that you're upset. I understand why you're upset. Like, that's not cool. That person shouldn't have done that. I can't promise to make your date infinitely better because I can't make you forget what happened, but I can give you your presents. And he says, okay, I'll take my presents. So I have my husband go get them for him, and he sits down and he opens them, and watching his face as he opened each gift. Priceless. So he wanted toe socks. Okay. You can have toe socks. So I get him 2 different bundles and he opens them. He's like, oh my gosh, how many pairs of socks did you buy me? 12. I bought 12. Don't ever tell me you want something like socks or clothes because you're going to get it in abundance. Because it's such a dull gift to me that I feel like the only way to make it worthwhile for you is to get you tons of it. So I got him toe socks. And then he'd been eyeing this shark onesie. And he opens up the bag that has it in. And he's like, oh my gosh. And I said, yeah, I remember you wanted that. Thank you. So, great. And then my kiddo is on the spectrum and has been talking about wanting a body sock. If you know, you know. So I get him one of those. And he opens that and he's just like, this is an autistic's dream. So his room is redone and it's very sensory friendly. And he's got all these friendly things. And he's just on cloud 9. Because he's like, oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting these things. This is great. I love it. So we decide to go get lunch. And he wanted ramen. But the fancy people ramen, as he called it. So we go out to lunch. We drive an hour away because, again, we live in the middle of nowhere. The place was really nice. Loved it. The food was great. It was amazing. We all had a great time. I am stalking UPS because I know I have a present coming from him. And I just want it to be there. Because I've already told him, like, I would bet my last dollar that this last gift will be his favorite gift. That he's just going to love it. He was like, okay. I mean, like, you keep hyping it up. I'm like, I know. Either it's gonna go really well or it's gonna go really bad, but I'm prepared. I think I've got this one in the bag. And so we come back from getting lunch, and there's a neighborhood cat. Well, it's not really a neighborhood cat. This cat has pretty much decided he belongs to us. He has moved himself into our garage. My dogs, they don't know how to feel about him. And so I bring the cat inside the house while my dogs are in their kennel for a little bit. Let, my kid play with the cat. We take it back to his bedroom. And I recognize that the gift is there. And so I had my husband get it from the front door. And it's in this big, ominous brown box. Like, you can't tell what it is. And he hasn't seen, like, my son hasn't seen it yet. And my husband's like, okay, so I'm going to set it up, and I'm going to put it in the living room, and then we'll see how long it takes him to notice. That was the plan. But then my son decides to go to the garage and jump off the cat, and I get overly excited. I cannot contain my excitement. I cannot wait for him to randomly walk into the living room to find this gift. I just can't. And so I look at him, and I'm like, your last gift is here. And he looks at me, and he goes, what? And I said, your last birthday gift, it's here. And he goes, okay, like, where is it? And I just keep making eyes towards the living room. And he walks into the living room, and the look of surprise on his face and the happiness and excitement just made the day. In the living room, he finds a life-size cutout of Gerard Way, who's his absolute favorite person on the world next to his boyfriend. He's like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. No way. How much does this cost? My son is very conscientious about pricing and spending money. His mom, not so much. I'm just like, you want it, you got it, I will make it happen to the best of my ability. He realized I wasn't going to answer that question, and he realized he probably didn't want that answer to that question. But, like, he was so excited. And I'm like, well, you said you wanted that. Well, yeah, but, like, I was joking when I said it. I'm like, you were joking when you said it. You wouldn't mind having it. But you weren't telling me to go out and get it. And I looked at him and I said, so do you feel seen? And he said, yes. And I said, that was my gift. I wanted you to know that you were seen and that you were heard and that you were important. He didn't actually ask me for this gift. He made a joke about it once and then left it at that. He had no idea that he was getting this for his birthday. I've been teasing him lately because I said, you're spoiled. And he says, I'm not spoiled. And it's a joke that we have going back and forth between us. And so today I said, so how does it feel to be spoiled? And he said, it feels really nice. How, my mama heart, that is always what we want, right? We want them to appreciate the things that they get, and he does. This kid was like, tonight, I really want, I'm like, let me guess, a matcha tea for you even loses it out. Well, yeah, but, and a cake pop. Well, yeah, but, okay, great. Tell my husband, but I don't want you to spend the money. It's your birthday. You can get your matcha tea latte. You can have your cake pop. So they go and they go get it. And he's like, I'm just not used to this. And I said, that's great, but we're doing something different. How cool is it to be able to show him something different than he's used to? It made my day. I absolutely was ecstatic. And then we've decided that we are going to do our own little family podcast of sorts. And it's a group project that we're working on, and we're really excited about it. We have a really unique relationship. And in our relationship, we all process things in different ways. Like we work through traumas that we've experienced, the hurt and the pain, and we discuss how it applies to our lives now. Really important to us because he was at a mental hospital. I grew up in a really busy home. My husband grew up in a really busy home. I say busy because I don't know what other word to use. We can explain that later. But we grew up in these environments that have shaped who we are, what we think, how we act, just the whole 9 yards. And so we're like, well, these are some of the conversations that people should be having. They're hard conversations that families don't typically have. And we're having them. How many people know how to sit down and talk to their trans kid? I do. How many people know how to sit down and talk to their gay trans kid? I do. My favorite thing is for us to sit there on the couch and just gab. Nonstop. He tells me everything. Sometimes the details are more than I want to know, but I love it. Why would you want your kid to tell you all of that? Because my kid trusts me. My kid doesn't see me as his friend. He sees me as his mom. Well, no, but that blurs the lines. It doesn't blur the lines. It tells my kid I'm safe for him. It tells him that if he ever needs something, ever, I'm the person he can go to. He doesn't have to hide it from me. He knows that there may be things he does that upsets me. I don't necessarily like everything that he does. But he knows he could tell me and I'm not going to hate him for it. I'm not going to disown him for it. I'm not going to treat him poorly because of it. Because we are all human and we all make mistakes. I was 16 once. I didn't make the best decisions of my life. How great it must be to be able to talk to somebody and know there's no condemnation. There's nothing to be forgiven for because you're just being human. And today, he got to just be human. So we did our podcast. It's called Surviving the Untold. Our first episode goes out here in a little bit. I'm a little nervous about it. He has very strong opinions. My husband has very strong opinions. I am very in the middle on some things. There are certain things, don't get me wrong, like I'm very firm on. Very firm on. And there's other things where I'm just kind of like, I can see where that would work. Which is really funny, because if you ask me to apply that same thought process to my life, no. Black, white. Only black, white. Shades of gray does not exist. However, if we're talking about the population as a whole, all kinds of shades of gray, all kinds of forgiveness. But I'm blown away by him. 16 years, 24 hospitals, and my kid is standing here today saying, I feel seen. I feel loved. I feel wanted. There are days he says that he has forgotten his birthday. He's thinking today, if it wasn't for you and my boyfriend, it would have been the same. But every few minutes, the two of you were like, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. And like, that's how it's supposed to be. We're supposed to be celebrated. How good does it feel to be celebrated? Where did we lose that? And being celebrated doesn't mean having someone spend the most money on you. Heck, I would argue it doesn't even have to do with spending money on you. When I worked at a mental hospital, those girls just loved having time with me. Hey, we just want to sit and talk to you. You don't have to buy us anything. We're excited that you see us as human and that you want to take care of our physical needs. But the way that you take care of our mental and emotional needs means so much more. These are kids who don't like to talk about their emotions because people judge them for it. And we'd sit down and do like the toughest packets of deep dive questions about their lives. And they would just talk to me. They are the reasons why I do this. This podcast is very much for me and for all you who listen. But it's inspired by all those girls sitting in that rec room and group room who are just trying to survive. It's for all those adults who are trying to figure out how to parent while they are struggling with their own mental health. It's you guys who make this so exciting for me. So today, I'm excited. I enjoyed myself. I did my podcast with my kid. My husband at some point made a snarky comment, kind of set me aback, got into my head, and then had to pull myself out of it. And I did. Guys, I didn't let it affect my whole day. As of now, I'm talking to all of you. In my excitement, I'm almost certain you could hear it in my voice. And after this, I'm supposed to get my kid and my husband, and we're going to work out together. Why? Because we can. That's it. I got some new equipment. I'm excited to use it. And they're like, hey, when you're done with your podcast tonight, grab us. We'll work out with you. July has been great for me so far. It's only been 2 days. I recognize that. I'm celebrating the win. I don't feel like I get a lot of wins. Today, I'm celebrating my win. My piece of pie today was amazing. It's the kind of day where all you want to do is sit and eat the pie. Because it's so savory. It's exactly what you needed at that time. You know, have you ever had days like that? This weekend, we celebrate the 4th of July. And there's a lot of big feelings and a lot of big emotions about everything that's happening in this world. And I know that I'm going to reflect on it. It's just who I am. I know that at some point, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to process. We're celebrating 250 years of the U.S. And things are the way that they are. That's a lot in and of itself. Tonight, it's for celebrating. I'll worry about that tomorrow and Saturday. Tonight, I'm going to love on my kid and laugh as he goes to bed with a Gerard Way staring at him in the corner. I had asked him earlier, do you think it would be weird if I watched you sleep? Yes. Why would you ask me that? That is so odd. It's such an odd question. Well, I was just curious. And he was just like, okay, that was weird. And then he saw the gift that I asked again. He's like, oh, yeah. And I said, I just wanted to know. I just wanted to know. I hope that you guys had an amazing day. And if you didn't, I still see you. Not every day is perfect. Not every day looks fun. Not every day sounds exciting. Some days are overwhelming and you're tired and you're exhausted and you're ambitious and you're optimistic and you're done. Today was just one of my good days. Just because you had a bad day doesn't mean you can't have a good one. But let's talk about it. If you have a day where you sit down to write in your journal and it feels heavy, tell me about it. Let's talk about it. I'd love to have a conversation with you about it. I'd love to listen to you. I'd love to see you. You can come talk to me. Together, we can work through what happened for the day. Where did that come from? Why did that happen? What can we do better? Tonight, I want you to just remember, today is another page in the story. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be written. And before you close your journal tonight, ask yourself, what was your bite of pie today? Until tomorrow, love you loud.